It's 9:09 on the Big 550 KTRS, and hopefully the microphones were off until just now. We have come up with a name for this hour of power. It is called the board meeting. I've made an executive decision. It's the board meeting.
Okay.
And it is three of the most powerful and influential voices and opinion makers and shapers in the region. We're proud to have them. So important is our first guest and our one of the weekly panelists is that he's not even here. That's how important he is. He was called away to Washington, D.C. Majority Leader of the House, State Representative John Diehl, welcome to the Big 550 KTRS.
Hey, good to be here, McGraw. So it's hopefully it won't be bored. It'll be bored.
Yeah, right, bored, right. Now, you were called away to Washington. Can you tell us why, or is it top secret?
Yeah, I had the privilege yesterday of coming up to watch our new a new congressman from the 8th District in southeastern Missouri be sworn in by Speaker Boehner on the House floor.
All right, good.
That was
all right, and you, because of all those flights back to Lambert, you have a hard time finding one of them.
Yeah, the direct flights back aren't plentiful.
Yeah, you have to go through like Naples, Florida to get back to St. Louis. Also with us is former Chief of Staff of Governor Holden, Jane Dueker. Jane, good morning.
Good morning, McGraw.
Would you like to show our TV viewers your shirt?
There we go.
Your shirt says, "Don't make me get my flying monkeys."
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll just leave that there. And Tony Messenger is the editorial page editor of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Good morning, Tony Messenger.
Good morning. Good to be here, McGraw.
Let's get right to it. Nick Pister in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch broke the story yesterday, I guess, that Freeman Bosley Sr., an alderman in the city, needs some help to send his youngest daughter to college. She's a 4.0 student at St. Elizabeth's High School, which, by the way, is closing down in the Shaw neighborhood. It's a wonderful high school. She's a 4.0 student, and she wants to go to Xavier, and with grants and scholarships, it cuts the bill to $14,000. He sent a letter out to his friends and supporters. I need your help. My youngest daughter wants to attend college, and would you help me pay for her college? And that has set off a firestorm. We'll start with you, Tony Messenger. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's awful, and it's on so many different levels. Let me try to hit as many of them as I can very briefly. First of all, who got that letter? Because if he's using a mailing list that he got from campaign funds or from his city work, then that creates a problem. Secondly, even if he has good intentions, somebody who receives that letter, who wants to do development in his ward or who wants some city business, is going to have bad intentions and realize, hey, I can give $5,000, I can give $10,000, and Bosley's going to owe me. That's really bad politics. The third level in which I'm just going to do 4 levels. The third level is that it's probably not illegal in Missouri. This is another one of those. This is another one of those cases where, really, in the case of most people who don't follow politics, will look at this and go, "He can't do that. That's awful. You just can't do that." But the reality is, in Missouri, nothing's illegal in politics, and so it's probably not illegal. It's incredibly unethical. The fourth level is this: if an alderman for the city of St. Louis can't afford college for his daughter who went to a school that's closing down, this is the larger problem that we have in the United States. I have federal parent loans. My son, who's in the Marines right now, who graduated from the University of Missouri, has student loans. We barely afforded it based on those loans. The percentage of those loans, the interest rate is about to go up. We have an incredible bubble right now because people in the middle class can't afford higher education, and good schools in the city are closing down, and that's a bigger tragedy beyond the political story.
So you're saying, worst case scenario, she should take loans out.
That's what everybody else does.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's still
in school right now. That's what happens.
That's exactly right. I spent 15 years paying off over $100,000 to become a lawyer, and the idea that somebody and even in the letter it said friends and supporters. Why in God's green earth are you sending this to political supporters? I mean, while I think there's no bright line in Missouri law, I think there is an issue, and if he's getting all the money from political supporters, that I think is circumstantial evidence of him leveraging his, actually raising campaign dollars and sending it to a private source. What would be the difference, under his logic, if I am a candidate or a public official and I I go out and tell people, look, I don't really want to pay for those campaign flyers, I just don't have the money. So why don't I just ask you to go do that and you just pay the vendor directly and then, it's not a campaign contribution because it never hit my account.
All right, John.
Well, first of all, it would be, and you'd have to list it on your personal financial disclosure. The first thing I thought of when I read that is, if this is for his daughter, why didn't he go hit his son up for the money who fleeced the History Museum for about $1 million?
Well, some have mentioned that.
that probably would have been the easier way to go.
John Diehl's bringing it this morning, by the way.
He's on the phone hammering.
You're up early this morning.
Well, yeah, it's 10 o'clock here. I'm an extra cup of coffee into this.
All right.
Okay.
Anything else did you want to mention on that before I?
No, I mean it's pretty.
I mean, let me ask you this question: Is it illegal for an elected official to send a letter like that soliciting money for his daughter's college fund?
No, I don't believe it is, and it probably should be.
John Edwards.
Wasn't there
I agree.
Wasn't there a story not too long ago, Tony Messenger, either you or one of your reporters, one of your colleagues wrote a story that there are elected officials in this state that receive tickets from lobbyists, then raise money on campaign contributions, and then pay off that lobbyist so that ticket doesn't have to appear on that form?
Happens all the time, and Speaker of the House Tim Jones does it. The person who started it is former Speaker of the House Steve Tilley, who ironically is a lobbyist now, who also has an almost $1 million campaign account. A whole nother level of ethical madness in this state. But what Mr. Tilley started to do, because he was pushing an ethics bill one year. And by pushing an ethics bill, I mean pretending to push an ethics bill. And he gave this sad sob speech in which he said, my father explained to me that it was looking bad that I was getting all this free stuff from lobbyists, so I'm not going to do it anymore. But he didn't. He continued to get tickets. He continued to get flights. He continued to get meals. But then what he did is he paid them off with his campaign account, which is actually almost getting the money twice. And so the lobbyist still reports the meal. And then the politician who does it this way, and there are many in the House that do it this way. I don't know if anybody in the Senate's doing that way. They then pay that lobbyist off with their campaign accounts, and so then it shows up as a zero, so that politician can say at the end of the year, I took no gifts. But if you follow the paperwork, they actually took the same amount of gifts they were taking before. They used campaign dollars to pay them off, and now there's an incentive for them to raise more campaign dollars to pay off the lobbyists who are giving them stuff.
So why can't I just give Freeman Bosley $14,000 and then have his campaign pay me back?
I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens.
Well,
but now you have a real problem there, because in this case, it's clearly for personal benefit.
Right, he said it.
What the politicians do.
Anytime you receive a gift or a campaign card. Now, personally, I think gifts are getting a little bit out of control, and I think they need to be reined in. And I think we're going to be taking a look at that and real reform in that, not tracing it back through campaign accounts. But when you receive a campaign, or when money is spent out of your campaign account, it is supposed to be related to your political activities. Okay,
right.
To the extent people are doing that, it is wrong and it is illegal. What the logic that Tony has not closed the loop on is that these expenses were not related to campaign or political activities, and I think generally speaking they are. And under the logic that Tony just used, everybody knows what those expenses are. They are fully disclosed. They're on the MEC website.
Right. I mean, and as much as you hate it, it is disclosed.
Bosley,
right. This is not
for money,
right.
Which is not political.
We don't know who got the letter. We don't know who gave.
Well, everybody got the letter. Nick Pister got the letter. Then
well, evidently, right. But I mean, who gave?
Send it to me.
Can I jump in here and ask the majority floor leader a question, because I think he just broke news. Are you telling me that you're going to sponsor some sort of ethics reform in the legislative session next year?
Oh, I think we're looking into how to rein in and reform some of these things. So, I mean, that's going to be a discussion with a lot of colleagues, including, it's not just a Republican problem, it's also a Democrat problem. And when it comes to campaign finance issues, it's also a union problem. So I think these are all things that we're going to try to take a look at.
The board meeting is underway. Go get some coffee. Come back, since we are not funded by taxpayer dollars, and we did not send a letter out to friends and supporters asking them for $14,000 to help fund our show. We need to take a quick break.